The Greeks spent 10 years trying to breach the walls of Troy. Armies, siege weapons, massive campaigns, and yet, nothing had worked. So, the ever-clever mind of Odysseus decided they needed to try something different. They built a gift, and once inside the walls, soldiers crept out. They opened the gates and went on to kill everyone and burn the city to the ground. Purple Gorilla couldn't do that. What he could do, however, was gather all of your personal information and sell it to advertisers. All of this while singing songs and telling jokes to you. We find ourselves in the midst of the dot-com boom of the 1990s. The internet was a sprawling, chaotic frontier, and people from across the globe were logging on for the very first time. And companies smelled blood in the water. If you could make something, anything, to help people navigate this brave new world, well, a pretty penny could be made there. At this time, Microsoft was still the king of computing, and they were trying to solve this problem. The first attempt came with Microsoft Bob in 1995. Which turned your computer into a cartoon house. It was novel and innovative for the time, but everyone hated it, so I guess it's time to go back to the drawing board. So another direction was tried. Well, if people don't like that we're making the computer into a home and they would want it to stay an office, why don't we give their office some secretaries? But how did they give them their little virtual secretaries? Well, you see, at the time, Microsoft was developing a genuinely impressive program, which was called Microsoft Agent. This allowed little animated desktop characters to appear while you were doing anything, and of course in extremely intrusive and unhelpful ways. There was a whole cast of them, but nobody cared about those fucking losers. Clippy was where it was at. Hell yeah, dude, that thing's so fucking hot. I just wanna... The main issue that the office assistants had was the fact that they were very annoying and intrusive instead of helpful. So Microsoft began to pull the plug on them. But in the dumpsters behind the Microsoft offices, a B-tier software company found the rotting corpse of Office Assistant. They decided, hey, we can make a quick buck off of this. Enter Bonzi Software. Founded in San Luis Obispo, California in 1993, they really specialized in useless software that didn't really do anything, from voice email readers to internet speed boosters. But thanks to so many people having no idea how to use a dang old computing device, it was an easy way to make a pretty penny. But you can only do so much with a shitty email reader, and how long could the internet speed booster grift go on for? They needed something new and innovative. Something that could be a friend, or perhaps a buddy. At the tail end of the 1990s, the great minds of Bonzi Software thought and thought and thought and thought some more. Finally, in 1999, the greatest idea yet had been born. Bonzi Buddy. A Microsoft Agent shell, when it first came out, it was using PD, which was a little green parrot Microsoft had made. That's not really good for brand advertising, so we need something that says Bonzi. Something great. One of the greatest species. But what? What? The Homidae! Yes! Yes! A great Homidae! Wait. People are Homidae, though. Fuck! Just make it a purple gorilla. Thus, the modern Bonzi Buddy, beloved and be hated by many, was born. But what exactly could this purple pal do? Well, he could read your emails back to you, have a calendar to set up dates and reminders, tell jokes, update you on the weather, surf the web, collect your name, age, address, and zip code on sign up, and then send that data back to Bonzi Software. Send you pop-up ads disguised as Windows system alerts. Changing your default homepage and search engine to bonzi.com without consent. Give Bonzi Software backdoor access to your computer. And sing songs! Mind you, the jokes were equivalent to the darndest things a 7-year-old or 50-year-old dad could think of. Just a little forewarning. And people were downloading Bonzi by the millions. And I mean, why wouldn't they? He was free! Well, I mean, a lot of his features were hidden behind a $10 a month paywall, but this was before avocado toast devastated the economy, so I'm sure people could afford it. He was funny, he was your little purple pal. They just wanted a gorilla! And Bonzi was more than willing to be there for them. If it wasn't yet obvious, Bonzi Buddy was both spyware and adware. The main issue regarding Bonzi Buddy was that it would create fake Windows pop-ups that tricked users of the software into thinking that the only way to fix the problem was to download Bonzi Software's other programs for like internet defense and all of that. That's not cool, Bonzi. I thought you were funny. Well, hopefully no one would file a class action lawsuit on him. In 2002, a class action lawsuit will be filed to Bonzi Software, wherein they owed $500 to every user who had seen a deceptive pop-up ad, plus an additional $5 for every ad impression. Let's do that math for a second. $500 per user who had seen a deceptive pop-up ad, plus $5 for every ad impression. Let's ponder our mind palaces for a second to figure out how much money Bonzi Software owes. The actual amount is so insanely high that it loops over and it becomes just comically funny. Are you ready? $1.6 billion with a B. Obviously, no one was going to be able to collect $1.6 billion from a D-tier software company whose main product was a purple gorilla. The settlement got haggled down from $1.6 billion to $175,000. You know, we're not in GDP of a small country anymore, but we're still in that's not good for Bonzi Software. Luckily, as long as they just lay low for a while and recuperate from their losses, things will be fine. It's not like a second lawsuit can happen. Later that same year, Bonzi got struck by a second lawsuit. This time from the freaking fellas at the FTC. Because, well, who would have thought? Who would have thought that collecting a bunch of data on a primarily child-based audience, because of course, Bonzi Buddy was mostly being downloaded for children, because, well, look at him. It turns out Bonzi Buddy was violating COPPA, or the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and that cost Bonzi another $75,000. That lawsuit with the FTC is what finally killed Bonzi Software in 2004. The mounting legal fees were simply too much to handle, and the service of Bonzi Buddy went dark. Bonzi could no longer do anything, reduced to irrelevancy. 10 years later, it is 2014, and a strange Swedish streamer by the name of Joel, better known as Varg Skeletor, is doing what he does best, pumping a Windows XP virtual machine filled with as many pieces of virus, malware, and whatever slop he could find. And it just so happens one of those slop things he found was a funny little gorilla. Bonzi was back. Joel's audience quickly fell in love with the funny ape. The expandong meme was born. Bonzi's text-to-speech would be used to say deeply important things. Philosophical quandaries such as, ha ha ha, penis. And from there, it would spread like wildfire. From YouTube to iFunny and even 9gag. The mid-2010s were running on this, irony-poisoned sense of humor. You know, where things that were weird, ugly, haha, surreal were seen as the bee's knees. And Bonzi was weird, and Bonzi was ugly, so he fit right in. Sure, the spyware thing wasn't funny, but that was in 1999 and 2004. These people weren't alive yet. Now it's 2015, and a funny little gorilla in a text-to-speech voice saying, haha, poop. That's the funniest thing ever. The 12-year-olds of the world rejoiced. But those 12-year-olds couldn't be 12-year-olds old forever, and like all things, Bonzi once again faded into irrelevancy. This time, for good, and quieter than the last time.